This lesson is all about using Photoshop's native Camera Raw editor. Camera Raw is a special file format that's native to whatever camera that you're using, and the editing features takes advantage of all the pixels that it doesn't compress. Now, when you download this folder, the book is going to have you open up the images using Adobe Bridge. Instead of using Bridge, I'm going to work natively just in Photoshop. So if you're in Photoshop, go up to File and let's open. Locate the Mission folder that's inside of the Lesson 12, and let's select all three of your images. Because they're Camera Raw, when you say Open, this will open up Adobe's Camera Raw editor. Now, these are constantly being updated because there's different camera types, there's different kinds of software for each camera, and therefore each file type for Camera Raw is often updated. So yours may be slightly different, but that's okay. Another thing to note about the Camera Raw editor is that it is a separate window that's separate from kind of like a little mini program inside of Photoshop. Typically, you can click on the little double arrows and that will make it full screen, but for me, I like to keep it a little bit smaller, so I'm going to keep it down here. Notice that because we opened up all three of the images, each of those pictures is available to edit down here. Additionally, all of the adjustments that we're going to work on can be found over on the right-hand side, and there's a handful of common tools that will let you select and affect certain areas of your photograph as we edit them. The final thing I'll point out is at the very bottom, as you start to organize all of your photographs, there's different ways we can filter them or be able to view them. By clicking on this will put your film strip by either hiding it, or you can right-click on it and you can set it to be vertical going along the side. I tend to like mine on the edge, so I'm going to right-click on it and keep it horizontal down on the bottom. Let's choose our first photograph and then go over here to the editors on the side. Most all of the editing you can do to a photograph can be found on this right-hand side. Some of the easiest things you can do is to select a profile. The color profile gives you the ability to quickly and easily set up your document based on the colors that are necessary for your subject. So in this case, since it's a landscape, when you choose landscape, it'll automatically readjust for the outdoor lighting. Another easy thing you can do is to adjust the white balance of your image. If you open up the color settings, white balance adjusts the temperature and the vibrance of whatever colors you have on your shot. By default, it's set as shot, but if we know this is outside on a cloudy day, with that selected, it'll automatically readjust everything too. However, in doing that, sometimes it gets off by just a bit. We know those clouds need to be the whitest spot. So we can use our eyedropper tool to pick out where we want the brights to be, and automatically it'll readjust the temperature, tint, and shades of everything based on that single spot. Depending on where you click, may do something different. So if I was to click right here in the middle, you can see how it shifts it to that being blue. Or if I was to click on the white of this sign, I'm going to do Command and the plus sign to zoom in and click there. That'll give me drastically different results as well too. Now, if you want to see how these changes have affected your original shot, pay attention at the very bottom center. Clicking on this will cycle through your before and after kinds of shots. So this will put them up side by side so that you can see the changes that you make. This way, once again, if I was to click on the white of the clouds, I can see them side by side, and I can cycle through some different kinds of views, top and bottom, left and right, or even right in the middle in between each other. Click it one more time to go back to our normal view. Finally, to manually set the exposure and the settings for your entire picture based on what Photoshop thinks would be best, go over to your options and under the Edit menu, choose Auto. This will automatically adjust the temperature and the lighting control based on what it thinks should be the best contrast for your histogram for your picture. Very often, it'll get pretty close to a good-looking picture, but we still need to go in and tweak some of these settings. For instance, let's open up the light panel and let's set our exposure to be +50. Let's set our contrast to be no contrast at 0. It's not +5, plus 0.5. There we go. Our highlights need to be a little bit -20. Can keep our shadows at +70. You can keep our whites at 20. And let's put the blacks down, not so much. Let's do -10 for those. If we open up our color settings, we can also adjust the brightness and the vibrance of this one. Let's go a little bit more vibrant to about +20. Let's do our clarity, which can be found in the effects panel. Let's bump that up to be about +20 as well too. Now we've got a good bright picture. Again, click on the preview and you can see before and after of what it looks like, side by side, vertical and not. Now let's see if we can sharpen our image just a little bit more. If you want to be able to zoom in, let's go down to our zoom level and set it to be 100%. Then finally, we can use our little hand tool and click and drag so we can see this at the very top. We can see that we can sharpen this just a bit more. We'll go over to our panels and open up the detail panel. And this is where we can do our basic sharpening. If we bump this up to about 100, it'll add a lot more detail to our area. The other thing we can do is to open up the triangle next to here and get even further refinement of the details. Let's set our radius to be 0.9. Let's set our details to be 25. Let's set our masking value to be 61. Finally, we'll decrease our sharpening value to be about 70. And we'll zoom out so I can see the whole thing. Now, I've already done these edits to one photograph and notice that it didn't apply to the others. If you know you want to do basically the same thing to all of your other pictures, we need to be able to synchronize them. In order to do this, right-click on your options down at the bottom and choose Select All. So we'll click on them. One more time, right-click on it, and let's choose Sync Settings. This will capture all of the different settings you have. So we'll simply say OK, and automatically those are now applied to all of your different pictures as well. Now to save your images as something other than a camera raw file format, let's go back down to the bottom and then right-click and choose Select All. Make sure all three are selected. And then look at the very top right-hand corner for this icon. This will allow you to save it and export it as different kinds of file formats. Now, there's lots of different formats we could save this as, and there are some predefined ones already set up. But for what we're going to do, we're going to keep it in the same location. This simply means it's going to put it in that folder. If you ever need to change your folder, this is where you can change it. You can give it a different kind of file naming format, but if you want to keep it the same name as your document, that's what document name will be set to. Additionally, you can add things like numbers or counting system or whatever you want from it as well. Finally, you can change your file extension. And again, you've got a variety of different kinds of files. We're going to keep it as a JPEG. And since it's a JPEG, we can set up the format for our JPEG as well too. We're going to keep the quality of it high, so anywhere between 8 and 9 is okay. If we scroll down, we can also set up the color space and the image sizing for what we need to work on. For our color space, let's choose the RGB ICE profile. Finally, let's resize our image to fit to area, and we're going to set the width of it to be no larger than 800 pixels. Finally, we'll downsample this to be 72 pixels per inch. This will make it a nice web quality image. When we click Save, automatically this will select and save each one of these as 3 different formats. This means if we jump back into our picture, one more time. So let's go to our mission folder, and you can see now there are 3 different JPEGs that were automatically edited and resized and saved with all the edits that we've done. Finally, let's save our original image by clicking on it as a native Photoshop document. With it selected, you can go down to the very bottom. Do not click Open. Instead, we can tell it how we want it to open, specifically as its own individual object. Otherwise, it's going to make a copy of what we have. From here, we can go to File and do Save or Save As, and you can save it up as a Photoshop document. Now, before I end this part of the lesson, one thing I want to point out is that when you're editing Camera Raw images, it doesn't save in the native Camera Raw file format. Instead, you're going to have a variety of what are known as sidecar files that save all of your data as XMP files. These are all the edits that you're working on. These edit files need to go along with whatever pictures you have. That way it saves all of your edits so that you can pull them back up later. Otherwise, if you get rid of these files, you're going to lose all of your edits that you've done and you'll have to do them over again. When you turn in your files, I want you to upload all of your XMP files, so there should be 3 of them, as well as your 3 JPEGs and your Photoshop document.